And welcome back to a Standard Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Jono, and I'm here again solo to give you your waiver wire picks going into Week 7. For those of you who had a great fantasy weekend, congratulations on your victories. And for those who have some big buys coming up or may have a couple losses under the belt, stay tuned. I'm going to give you a couple players here that could help ramp up your offense or at least beef up that bench of yours. Before I get into the content, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification button so you get all the videos I drop this week. And when Chris comes back the following week, you'll get everything that we are dropping on a daily basis, from shorts to our full-length videos. That being said, we'll jump into it right here. We have a big bye week. It's our first quote-unquote bye-mageddon, and we've got the Cowboys, Jets, Texans, Bengals, Titans, and Panthers all out. Now, you think about that, and you're like, oh, well, you got some good teams, some bad teams. Well, when it comes down to it, you got a couple quarterbacks that are worthy starters that are going to be out, and you've got a bunch of running backs for sure, and a couple receivers here too, is there, obviously, from the Jets, the Cowboys, and the Bengals. And even Adam Thielen, the way he's playing right now. So I've got players across the board that you can pick up to your team to be able to fill them if you're going to stream or flex play, whatever you need. So let's start off first with the running backs. Due to injuries to Christian McCaffery this past week, we're looking at Jordan Mason and Eli Mitchell being picked up. Now, most people already have Elijah Mitchell because anybody who's a CMC owner knows that you want to be able to pick up him as a handcuff and stash him, or people in your league know that he's got value on that offense too as well. Not as much value as we originally thought he would have on a game-to-game basis, but Elijah Mitchell's only 34% owned in sleeper leagues. He had 2 carries after CMC exited the game last week for -3 yards. Not a great showing, but let's not forget in 2021, this dude ran for 963 yards and 5 touchdowns on 200 carries. So we know he could play the game of football. We know he could play in this system, and that was his rookie season. So Elijah Mitchell is somebody that you can go grab if he's there. Jordan Mason, a lot less owned. He's only 4% owned in sleeper leagues. He did run 5 rushes for 27 yards and a touchdown, so he got kind of the majority of the touches there, especially on that one drive that he scored. So if you have an opportunity, grab him because they may go back and forth between these two backs. Next running back is Latavius Murray. Now, he's been on and off our list in the past because, well, he's used heavily or he's not used heavily. It's a kind of a dip your toe in the water or not. Well, the fact that Damian Harris, luckily he's been okay, it would end up being just a neck strain, got carted off the field on Sunday night's game. Latavius Murray is the main backup to James Cook. Now, for some reason, this Bills offense doesn't want to give James Cook all the carries, and I don't get it, but they don't, and he keeps coming off the field. And who's going on? It's Latavius Murray. He's only 16% owned in sleeper leagues. He had 12 carries for about 45 yards against the Giants on Sunday Night Football, who actually did pretty good against the Buffalo Bills offense. Look to Latavius Murray because he also has the opportunity to get the goal line carries. And if he's getting the goal line carries, you have opportunities for touchdowns, and those equal points, and we know that. So Latavius Murray is my next one on this list. Another injury was to David Montgomery. He has a rib cartilage injury that could make him sit out for a little bit of time, quote unquote, is the timetable that we've heard so far. I don't know what that means, little bit of time, but whatever that is, whether it's a game, 2 games, he's probably not going to play Week 7. So Craig Reynolds is going to be the guy we're telling you you'll get again, especially after the first injury he had. Craig Reynolds did come in. He had 10 carries for 15 yards. He's only 2% owned in sleeper leagues. And I know that stat line I just read you doesn't seem great. Well, don't forget, they were facing a tough rush defense in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Even Montgomery didn't fare too well before his injury. So bigger things to come. They are going to be playing a tougher matchup, but it's not going to be as difficult as that. And obviously, if you lose David Montgomery and he's one of your core starters and you have somebody on bye, you're going to need to play somebody. So spend a little bit of fab on Craig Reynolds. Another one that's going to have a starting role due to injury is Zach Evans. This may be a 1-week starter here for you, depending upon what it looks like for Kyren Williams. But Kyren Williams left with an ankle sprain, and the backup running back also left with a PCL strain. So Zach Evans is the next man up. He had 4 carries for 10 yards. Nothing major, but he's on a Rams offense that can move the ball through the air, allowing for opportunities on the ground. He's only 4% owned, I believe. I take that back, 5% owned in sleeper leagues. So go ahead. If you don't get any of these other guys, he is somebody too to go grab and take a chance on as well, based on their matchup. Those are the big running backs. To me, I would go with Jordan Mason, number one, because it seems like this oblique strain could take a longer time for CMC to get back as opposed to the David Montgomery strain. So Jordan Mason, Eli Mitchell are my top two there. I would say Latavius Murray as well, because Damian Harris, we don't know. He has no timetable return right now, so you got an automatic number two is there. Craig Reynolds is a 1 to 2 to 3 game, depending upon what David Montgomery's status is. And if for some reason by Tuesday night, I'm filming this on Monday, 8:30 p.m., there is no update in terms of length of time he'll miss. If he does miss a significant amount of time, Craig Reynolds could be used more as well. Zach Evans, I think, to be honest, Kyren Williams, fantastic game, 150-something yards and a touchdown. He'll come back sooner than later. It doesn't seem like Sean McVay thought it was too big of a deal in terms of that ankle sprain and the severity of it. So that's going to be my list there. Jordan Mason, Eli Mitchell, Latavius Murray, Craig Reynolds, Zach Evans. Let's move on to a couple wide receivers here. So this is a big one. You're missing CeeDee Lamb, Garrett Wilson. You're missing Jamar Chase, DeAndre Hopkins, Adam Thielen. So to me, a lot of big receivers that are probably wide receiver 2s or starters as wide receiver 1s for you. To me, what I'm thinking here is you're going to get somebody who's going to get volume. And that's what you want in these bye weeks and these off weeks. So volume plays here are Kendrick Bourne, who on yesterday and Sunday's game ended up having 11 targets. He had 10 receptions for 89 yards. If that Patriots offense starts to get moving a little bit, I think it's going to be on the backbone of Mac Jones, Ramondre Stevenson, and your pass catcher, Kendrick Bourne. Hunter Henry left the game early, and of course, Devontae Parker did not do the job that he was expected to do as well, and Kendrick Bourne ended up being a good outlet for Mac Jones. So look to Kendrick Bourne. My next one would be Wan'Dale Robinson. This is a little bit tougher because the Giants' offense is not that potent, and they're not scoring that many offensive points. That being said, he did have 8 targets, 8 receptions for 62 yards. They started getting him going a little bit more downfield instead of these little intermediate and short, shallow, flat routes. They got him more slants across the middle. They tried to get him going a little bit more in catch and run. I'm hoping maybe they give him a couple more screen passes here and there. But it does help having Saquon Barkley back. It frees up these smaller wide receivers and getting more opportunities to get them open. So I like him too as well. He's 28% owned, and Kendrick Bourne is 21% owned. So plenty of opportunities to go grab these guys as good flex plays in an off week. I will say Jalin Hyatt, I am a Giants homer, and because of that, I'm going to put this out there. He did see over 75% of the snaps in this game on Sunday night. That's a huge, huge boost in his snap percentage. I like him because they were trying to get him the ball at times. He only had 3 catches on 4 targets for 21 yards, but he did have a 45-yard play with beautiful toe dragging catch on the sideline called back for an ineligible man downfield that I don't know if I agreed with. However, you put that into play, he has 4 catches and 60-something yards as well. And we know he's a downfield threat. And maybe with Daniel Jones coming back, if not, Tyrod Taylor showed that he liked him early and often in the game. And if he's going to get 75 to 80% of the snap share again moving forward, and these Giants are playing these young guys like Wan'Dale and him, I like having one of these guys, especially Hyatt, as a stash because of his big playability. And Wan'Dale, he's kind of like an easy 5 to 8, 9 catch game, but the yardage is going to be a little bit lower there. I'll give you one tight end here. I'll give you 2. Michael Mayer's my top one here. He was a preseason hopeful for Chris and I. Coming out of college, he was a fantastic, probably the more well-rounded tight end that there is out there. And to me, he was going to be fantastic here in this offense. He just fell behind because of Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers are playing so well. But now that Devontae Adams is dealing with a shoulder injury and Hooper isn't going to be the main guy, he's starting to get some more touches. You saw an uptick. He had 5 catches on 6 targets for 75 yards in a game that was close. So they were going to him even in these close games. He's only 12% owned, so you have an opportunity there. And then coming off their bye week, you have Luke Musgrave for the Green Bay Packers. I like him. I still do. I think he's going to be a fantastic streamable tight end on a week-to-week basis. The thing is, Jordan Love has a passer rating of 95.5 when targeting Luke Musgrave. That just tells you he's sure-handed and he gets open. So if you're looking for a streamer play, if you're looking for a stash play or a secondary tight end because maybe you've got a couple of tight ends that are on bye here, go ahead, grab those guys. And I want to do what I've always done in these episodes, and that's give you a couple QB streamers. Now, like I said, Dak Prescott is on bye. Joe Burrow's on bye. Besides that, you're not probably starting Bryce Young unless it's a 2-quarterback league. Ryan Tannehill. CJ Stroud, maybe you're starting him because he's better than who you had, or maybe you picked him up after Aaron Rodgers' injury or Justin Fields' injury. So if you are a Justin Fields owner, if you are somebody who has on a bye, I like Derrick Carr this week on Thursday night. I think that's going to be a pretty good matchup for him. He's been throwing the ball pretty heavily. They haven't had much of an advantage on the run game, so they've been leaning on the pass. Olave is picked back up there. You've got Kamara out the backfield. A lot of opportunities for Carr to score points. I do like the Raiders quarterbacks, whether it's Jimmy G or Brian Hoyer. I think Hoyer can get it done if he's the one who's out there. If he's not, and it's Aiden O'Connell, I think Aiden O'Connell could get it done. He had a great preseason here, but he did not show it in the game against the Chargers, whether that was a good Chargers defense or it was his bad play. I do like the Raiders this week as well. And then the last one, who I said as a sit this past week, is a streamable option for quarterback, is Josh Dobbs. He's got the running ability to. They're going to be passing a lot, especially without their top running back. But I have them in that order. Derek Carr, if it's Jimmy G from the back injury or whatever it ended up being, is back, play him. If it's Brian Hoyer, I'm okay dropping him down one and putting Josh Dobbs above that. Otherwise, Josh Dobbs is the third in line there. That's all for today's episode. That is the Week 7 early waiver wire picks. If you have any questions or comments on the waivers, feel free to drop a comment below. Send us a direct message. Send us an email at thestandardfantasy@gmail.com. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that notification button so you get all the videos and shorts upcoming. I'm going to be trying to give you up-to-date information in terms of injuries on players, and also some quick little tips here and there throughout the week on who our starts of the week are and who our sits of the week are. So don't forget to tune in, and like as always, thanks for coming out.